Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis. This podcast is for those who wish to break free. Today, I'm very lucky and very honored and privileged to be joined by Gina Lloyd. She's a kinesiologist. She's a coach. She's so much more than that. She's a dear friend of mine, and I cannot wait to share her story with the world and through this platform. So, welcome, Gina. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Did you want to just tell people what it is that you actually do? I remember when I wrote my book, you asked me what it is you actually did, and I wrote back a very short message, and then you sort of gave me like a definition of what it is you actually do. So tell us about your business, Harmony and Heart Studio, and all of that stuff, and let's rock and roll.
Well, it doesn't matter what I really do. It does. But my motto, my goal in life is to bring harmony into everyone's heart. So remove imbalances and blocks, whether it be subconscious in your organs, and bring them back into homeostasis or back into harmony and bring clarity to their brain. So I do alters and changes regularly. I will say I'm a kinesiologist, so that's a kinesiologist. I can't even say it. A kinesiologist works with the muscles, so works it's chiropractic and Chinese modalities, Indian modalities, or like my own tools. So through muscle monitoring, so we're speaking to the subconscious. I also speak to the higher self, and see what your higher self requires from my toolbox.
That's
to
awesome.
help you move. To help you move into more of an ascension, really.
Yeah, and what you did for me, I'm forever grateful for how you opened myself up, because since that first session, I didn't think I'd be having a book soon be published, recording a podcast, and doing all these awesome things. It's been an incredible journey, and I thank you so much for opening myself or helping me open myself up to the power that I had. So I'm forever grateful for that.
Do you think that it's kind of like I allow you to be your absolute self?
Correct.
And I authentically listen and hear and see and then speak.
Correct. And it was awesome that we were, during our Modern Brothers travels, we were divinely guided to meet you through my cousin in Queensland. And I'll never forget that first session. It was a stinking hot, humid day, and just some of the things you were telling me in that session, I still remember some of it, and I still get synchronicities when I see triangles or some of those things you told me.
Something happened then.
Pardon?
Something happened then, like with the music, with the sound.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like.
Oh, really? Oh, well, might be your end, because my end's fine. So,
beautiful.
But I still see synchronicities from that first session we had. We've had 3 sessions, but I still see and some things, little hints that you've said. I still get them. So I forever thank you for what you did for me.
Yeah.
So it's pretty beautiful.
It was beautiful. I like watching people's evolution. It's absolutely gorgeous, and even my own.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you can't do the work on others if you don't do it on yourself first.
Well, you probably could, but you probably wouldn't be as effective.
Well, that's true.
Like, that's how I look at life, though, too. Like, once you start healing and looking and then resolving and releasing, you don't stop.
No, you
and
don't.
That's the truth. You don't stop. It's continuously it does become a lot easier, but you don't stop.
No, you don't.
You try.
So how did you get into kinesiology? I'll have listeners here that won't know really too much about it, but if you can just share how you got into it, that'd be fantastic.
I've been a reader, and I've been able to see spirits and have some amazing experiences since I was a really little girl. So I used to live in Peachester on Cemetery Road, and I have no issues with going to the cemetery, and my mum will tell you some stories where I took some teeth home so I could clean them for
Yeah,
the
right.
spirits. Yeah. So I'm weird and wonderful, and but totally okay with it.
Yep.
So it is kind of a funny story.
Could
but
you?
I didn't
Oh, sorry.
remember. I didn't remember for years. But so I've already been in that place. And when I speak to people from high school and primary school, I've always been about natural and saving the planet. And I've always been like that. And then I worked in the education department, and for a really long time. And I suppose I lost myself a little bit. And you do that
I
sometimes
definitely did.
with that, but also I was a single mum.
Yep.
So I became a mum, and that is so different. And you have these ideas of what you want to be like, and who you want to be like, and who you want to become. But no one really back then can help you on that journey and explain that those feelings and thoughts are actually normal. It's a grief process. So I lost myself and worked full time for the department, and was a single mum with not much support from too many people. That also my choices.
Yeah.
And I have an amazing bond with my daughter that I wouldn't change for the world. So when that happened, I got really sick. I was in a leader role for a long time, and I just became really sick because I was pouring from an empty cup and not looking after myself. So I went through the doctor system, and there's a place for medical. There really is. But pills aren't going to stop and fix everything. You have to go within.
Correct.
So just a small scenario of what happened. So there's lots of traumas in most people, or different traumas or different levels, and I had quite a few. And I just suppressed them and put them down, and then my body showed me. Also, at the same time, I suppose I'd say that I'm not about labels. So I'm really not about labels.
Neither am I.
So I would say that I've had a lot of traumas that have come up in my body, but I'm empathic. You'll say that, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I can take on your blueprints and your energies, and now I use them beautifully. But I didn't know what I was doing back then. I had no idea. And a lot of people have no idea that they're taking on other people's stuff.
Yep.
But they're taking their blueprint on, so then it becomes their blueprint.
Correct.
So I was doing that. So I found I got really sick and couldn't walk and all those type of stuff, and my brain was not in a good way, but neither was my heart. So I went down the path of medical. That didn't work. I just kept listening to my guides and everything, and knew I had to go within and open the Pandora's box, I call it.
Yeah. Wow.
Just so you know, you can't shut that thing when you open it.
No, you can't.
Yeah. And so I opened it and found some truths, and then had to really do a lot of work to see the actual full story and not what my brain was telling me.
And that's the good, the bad, the ugly, and I call it the dark night of the soul. That's what I call it.
Well, you could call it that. You could call it shadow work as well. But
shadow work, yeah.
Isn't it amazing how our brains, in those circumstances, and our bodies decide we need to help them. We need to help them. So we're just going to put that in a box right there, and we're just going to deal with that. So it's like, it's just, in a way, I think that was lucky, because a lot of people still remember some of the stuff that I had in a box, but I had it in a box for a reason. And I understand that now, because I love to remove entities and things from people, and celestials, and entities can be emotions and circumstances and witch stuff and all sorts of beautiful things. I know I call them beautiful, even though they're sometimes not.
No.
But usually, what I've been doing recently in the last few months is really noticing how many souls people have in their body. So not just entities, these are souls when they've been disconnected and they require a soul to come in. So when you have surgery and you're not really wanting the surgery, and you've been, knocked out.
Yep.
But even when you have a car accident or something extremely, it's powerful, but it's emotional, powerful, and traumatic happens to you, where you disconnect and you have to literally split yourself off in two. So when that happens, so I've really been working on the souls that have been jumping in to people.
So
And
so
sometimes,
what you're saying is you feel that souls are jumping into people. Is that like
well, I
souls
shouldn't say
leaving
it like
bodies going
that.
to someone? Like, yeah, give us a
Well,
yeah.
they do kind of do. So when you're disconnected, so when you're disconnected and you're not connected to your Merkaba, you're not connected to your guides, you've been disconnected, which has happened recently to a lot of people.
Yeah, I was
Um,
disconnected for a long time too.
you
I
there's this
feel I feel alcohol plays a part in that. I feel that when you black out when you're drunk, your soul leaves your body.
That's entities.
Ah, gotcha.
You'll get entities.
Yeah,
You'll get entities because see what you're doing is you're doing the same thing as when they knock you out, I suppose.
correct. It's and you're drinking spirits, like they call it spirits for a reason, don't they?
Well, it's full of sugar.
Well, and they call it spirits, don't they?
Yeah, but
Mm.
yeah, but to remember, I don't just work with spirits.
True, but that's
So
what people are drinking when they drink alcohol.
yeah, they're drinking sugar and they're drinking something that changes their mindset and their brain. And there's a saying that people say, Dutch courage.
Yes, there
So that it
is.
lowers their inhibition so they can be their authentic self, which is interesting that they
Mm,
can't feel safe, that they can be their loud, beautiful, amazing self.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's like I talk about it on the stuff I share and say. It's like you don't need these things to be your best self.
no, but I also don't want people to think that like you're allowed to have one if you want to. It's when you get absolutely blotto that's not a good thing. Like
I
I don't
agree.
want everyone to be judged and guilted into having, not having a drink. Don't feel bad, but it's not something that's amazing for your body.
It's
And it
also the
does,
emotional attachments to it as well. It's
yeah,
like I used to drink because I was escaping my
yeah.
life and my home. If I was to go back and drink now, the emotions aren't there, obviously, but there'd be obviously a reason why I would, because I have said to myself, and I say it, I'll never drink again.
Well, when you work in energy, it you can't drink like when you work like we work. It's not
I
you can't
agree.
do it.
No, you can't.
You can, but it's not good.
No, and I'd rather not.
It's a bit of work, like every time.
Yeah.
Um, but what I was going to say is it's actually not just alcohol.
No, it's
It's
not. I
it's
just use
no
that as an
sugar, but
example.
it's not just food. It's also so how I would get away from reality is to watch a movie or read a book.
Ah, yes.
There are a lot of people do that where they bring. I don't fully think the reading a book is a bad thing, but sometimes it is if you continuously are going, oh, I'm not going to do that. I need to do this. I want to get away. I can't. I want to escape. I don't want to be
Yeah.
here. Like if
Yep.
they're the thoughts that you're having and you're like, I can't be bothered, let's go do this.
Yep.
Like
Love
it's
this.
that type of stuff too.
Yeah,
But
and
for some people, yeah,
it's also the as I said to you before, it's the emotions that are attached to it.
yeah, and the feelings.
And the feelings, like what are you escaping from?
Cleaning the house.
Clean the house, darkness,
But
yourself.
well, so your house is a representation of yourself, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Yep.
So if you've got like a lot of a pile up or something, there's usually something going on in your head that you've got to go and clean up. So um, I had an amazing friend who's my person, my healer that I go to. She's
Mm.
like, Gina, you know what I've worked out recently? And I'm like, what? She said, when you're mopping the floor, you're cleaning the ocean. When you're folding the clothes, you're getting the muck from over here. When you're
I love
doing
that.
this, you're doing that. And I said, it's just about playing with the words and going, oh my gosh, yeah. And we're energy workers. So most certainly when we're mopping the floor, we are definitely imagining cleaning the ocean floor so that they're not.
Absolutely.
That's
That's
such a great
beautiful.
way to look at it,
It is,
which
isn't
is
it?
which helped me a lot.
Because they're jobs that people obviously hate doing, right?
It's mundane,
And
mundane.
it's changing that thought from negative to positive that I always talk about. It's
Well,
like,
and
what's
it's
the
yeah.
positive outcomes of this?
Well, you're being of
Imagine you're doing
service,
something
aren't you?
exactly. Yes, correct. Love that. That is beautiful. I'm gonna
Yeah.
like take that as a recording, that little bit, and put that up as a reel on Instagram. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, I can't really take too much from that. Although I have spread it like wildflowers because they're beautiful.
So
But yeah,
as a child, we'll go back to that. Did you always see and hear things?
Yeah, but I didn't think that was anything wrong because they just looked normal to me.
Well, yeah, that's
Until
spot on.
I did have a circumstance where they tried to take me.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I know people. I want to say it because I know other people have had it, and they just feel, or they've been told that it wasn't right.
Mm.
But as an adult, you can go back, and when you unpack a whole lot of those journeys, you go, "Oh wow, that so they were literally." We won't call them aliens because that the interpretation that the media and everyone puts on that is very different to what actually sometimes happens.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
yeah, so
Interdimensional beings or something, we'll call them.
yeah, we'll call them AI, whatever you want to call it.
AI,
They're all
yeah, AI, yeah.
there's AI. There's it all depends on what it was that did it.
Yeah.
But you draconians, you got all different types that do things,
Yep.
but they're amazing at making themselves look like humans.
Yep.
But it's also your perception. So if you believe in just spirits and spirits look like humans, then that's what you're probably going to see. If you believe that demonic things are like black blobs or whatever, you're probably going to see that too. Whereas I have because I've seen so much and realized afterwards, oh, that was actually all right. I've had a car accident and honestly swore to God that I had the car accident because I was going to hit 6 guys in black cloaks.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's so
so like
powerful.
that's the police have that on record. So
It's interesting. It's our perception of reality, isn't it?
well,
And
it's our perception of what we think is reality. So we mainly speak about spirits. So it's okay that your guides are spirits or angels, whereas that's not necessarily true. But if that's your belief system, then sure, and they're going to look like that for you, like
correct.
that. Yeah. So, and they're not doing it out of. Sometimes it's not like it's not a make. Like they're not good, but
No.
I can see that. So,
Yeah.
and you should be able to feel that when it's not good. Like when you make a choice and you're like, oh, that's not my normal
It's
choice.
your intuition as
Yeah,
well.
you're listening to yourself
Yeah.
internally. Your
And
heart.
I feel a lot of people are disconnected from all of this, though, Gina. And it's very, very sad to see. A lot of people are very disconnected from themselves, from their higher self, guides, whatever you want to call it. Like they're just disconnected. And I feel like they're disconnected from their soul. Like their soul is aching. Their soul is showing them, is telling them, it's expressing pain in their body.
Yeah.
That's what I see every day when I walk around.
Well, there's some amazing books out there that have been out there for a really long time. Like you've got your Louise Hayes, you've got your Wayne Dyer, you got all of those people have done books. So Louise Hayes got so many books where she talks about and there's another book that I use a lot, The Body is the Ruin of the Soul. And that was a lady from Australia. And she talks about, I really like her book. She talks about if there's an autoimmune disease or if there's a pain somewhere, it's to do with your chakras and or hooked up to
Yeah,
your organs.
absolutely.
There's
I read a
always
book about that
something
too.
that's suppressed. Yeah. And there's
Yeah,
emotions. And emotions are there to be spoken about. It's when
I
we're
agree.
reactive with emotions. And I think a lot of people that you're talking about become really reactive.
Correct. I was one of those people too, though.
But everyone we're all learning, my love.
Absolutely, we are.
This is a chapter of your life. Like, and this is what we don't really get taught. I said that in school, I remember being told that high school is only 5 years of your life when I was younger. And I'm like, you know what? They're so right. But they put so much emphasis on that. They forget to go, well, you don't have to have one job your whole life. You can have 5 or 7 or 10. And there's
Exactly.
nothing wrong with that. You know what you can
Exactly.
also do? You can have a couple of jobs, or you can do this job and do that one and write a book. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a
Absolutely
lot
not.
of emphasis and programming that we have
Yes.
to have it done a particular way. And so
Yeah, you got
unless
to
you
have
have a
what's
parent,
the program? You got to have a house by 30, couple of kids. You got to go through school. You got to write a resume. Don't know how to write a business plan. All that stuff. It's like they don't show you anything of any. Like you're only just a cog in the system. But
yeah, you're a
there's
number.
so much. But
They
there's so
do
much.
talk
There's
about that.
so much more to life than just being a cog in the system. You
We're
can
only
you
talking
can be
about
a
a
cog in
tiny bit of
this
it too.
exactly. You can be a cog in the system, but you can still be creative and you can still be who you are.
Yeah, but the system sometimes makes it really hard for you to do that.
Well, it's called
And
I call it the Matrix, but yeah, basically.
yeah, well, I actually don't call them that because we are in a matrix. But anyway, but I like, well, yeah. So you've got your vortexes and you've got all those type of things, but it's about being. I think it's real, and it is coming about though, Nathan, where they do talk about your spirituality and they do talk about um like that the holistic way and instead of just the medical way. And I think for a swear word we're going to say is this COVID stuff has actually assisted in that. I do see the good in some of it.
That's interesting. You say that, Gina, because a lot of people, whether they're awakened or whether they're not, whether they're taking the juice or whether they're not taking the juice, a lot of people haven't
It's
quite
so
seen the good
funny
in
to
it,
hear
though.
that. When someone says juice, I automatically think they've gone and had steroids.
I'm just saying that what you're saying is spot on. A lot of people haven't seen the good in it. They've taken the evil that it was, though, as well, and just ran with that and haven't
Well,
seen the good. If
there
it
was no,
wasn't for the last 3 years, Gina, I would not have awoken to who I really was, and I'd still be stuck.
which is awesome. So when you get forced into doing something that you're like, I don't know, getting told not to do that, I'm not really keen for that.
Well, my intuition
Wonder
was
why
just
that
like
is.
telling me not to.
And the herd mentality is there as well, but it's well, they're going to drop off a little bit, aren't they?
I agree.
But even if you've made the choice because of the circumstances that were to do with money or that, and I understand a lot of people are going to tell you that that was wrong. You made the best choice you could with what you had, and that doesn't mean that you're going to be punished for that. There's always a way to counteract what you have done. It
I
was a
agree.
chapter, a journey.
Yep.
If you become aware and realize that it wasn't the best choice for you, maybe going and having the next one will possibly not be great for your body.
No, it's
also that awareness. The minute you have that awareness of what to put in your body and the consequences that can happen, that's like your subconscious and your conscious talking to each other.
Spot on.
And one's going, no, and the other one's going, we've got to do it. So a lot of people that had some side effects were, in a way, kind of coerced and forced to do it. So they had ramifications like that. But I still do believe that you can heal what's happened to you.
I agree. Redemption.
I'm going to get some backlash on that, but I do believe that.
I believe that too. And I feel the real work's about to start in terms of that.
Well, there's a lot of people that have been doing a lot of real work behind the scenes. I've got so many friends that work on the frequencies of the land, of like, yeah, they're trying to suppress us in so many different ways. And I've got so many amazing people that work on that and work on the politicians and whatnot.
Do you see, obviously I talk about the consciousness shift from darkness to light. What do you see in the future as a bit of hope for people that are stuck?
Everyone has darkness and light. So you probably need to explain that a little bit more for me.
Well, I meant the consciousness shift as in like humanity's consciousness shift is moving from darkness to light. That's why people their darkness and their stuff is coming up right now. It's evident.
Yeah, there's lots of points coming into the universe. So there's a lot of science behind it too.
Wow, a lot of people are going to get triggered by the word science here, Gina. So let's be careful.
Well,
because I don't trust their science.
In Universal.
Yes.
Or they're now saying that they can see the different universes and they can see all these types of stuff. So like, we got to embody all of it to a point and see the good, the bad. That it's your perception.
Agreed.
But everyone has shadow and light in them. Everyone has dark and light. It's Correct. Our essence and our soul. And when we leave this realm, our body stays here. So that the meaning of your body is your temple is like next level. But and each year and each time I look back at that, I get this embodiment even more of, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense. What my body looks like for me and perfect and how I want it to be is not the same as what someone else would want their body to be. And that's totally okay. That's their body and this is mine. But I call them frequencies. So the frequencies are lifting.
They are. Yes. The energy.
So I don't necessarily say light or dark with that, but yes.
The frequencies are lifting. I do agree with that.
Mankind is doing well. Earth is doing much better.
What do you see for humanity in the next couple of years, Gina, as a bit of hope?
Well, Oh, I don't want to say that. I've heard that Jesus has come back,
We've all heard that one, haven't we?
but no, he in the womb. He's in the womb right now.
Oh,
So
right. Okay.
yeah, and you can go biblical on that too, because there's some sections in some of the Bibles that talk about it, but they have not got a timeline. And I
Have
was like,
they?
oh, interesting. Yeah. So it's good to research.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
only because like when you get told stuff, it's like, oh, really? That's interesting.
Hmm.
Um, I see a lot of people. I don't really do that. It's going to be a little bit more quieter than what it's been.
It's gonna get dark though.
Mm, well, my little slice of heaven isn't.
No, well, no, not. I meant like not our stuff, but I meant like it's gonna get dark, as in like literally dark for a while.
Mm, yeah, maybe. I also think that it's not. I wouldn't like to think it's toxic positivity, but if you're saying something like that, guess what's going to happen?
It's gonna get dark. Well, I see a lot of light too, but
What do you want to manifest? Do you want to manifest that?
no, I want to manifest
No.
I want to manifest a mass global awakening that's currently bigger than the one we're going through now. And that we have this new, people call it the new earth. Well,
I'm just got told all in good time.
this new age.
You know what we were talking about before?
Mm,
Everything is in divine timing. Everything is exactly how it's meant to be. It's your perception. I do
interesting.
believe that there's going to be a time where there's going to be a lot of holistic places pop up, and they are around here a lot, where
They are in Queensland.
you can go see a doctor that is actually qualified in a whole lot of different areas, not just medical.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
Um,
seen them, and I've seen
and a
holistic dentists and all sorts of
chiropractor,
stuff up there. Yeah,
holistic dentist. There's
there's
like
just
so
not many in Victoria. That's all.
naturopathy, like there's so
Mm,
many, and homeopathy, and you go to a clinic and there's all different people there and they all help you. Women's centers, so that you can get this information. And
mm,
it's not just medical, giving all different information, not just one.
I agree.
Yeah. So and I see that.
Yeah, I see that too.
And there'll be there's always going to be some tiny little roadblocks in the way, but like
hmm,
it's how we drive around them or go
I
over
agree.
them or dig under them. Like it's kind of like going on a bear hunt to a point. That story when we're younger. It's
Mm,
it's that quote that I always like love to tell you is that,
here we go.
well, I'm not very amazing at remembering it. Or trusting that I remember it. Who is it that it's Charlie? His name's Charlie, and it's what is it? The boy, the 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 boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse.
Yeah.
That's the book. And he says, the boy says to the horse, I can't see. I can't see. I don't know where to go. I'm obviously changing it. Because I can't fully remember it. And the horse goes, can you see your next step? And the boy says, yes. And the horse says, just take that. We
That's
get
so
stuck in the
powerful.
future. Yeah, it's really powerful. It's good to have plans and have a goal, but
Live in the now.
it's in the present moment.
Mm,
It's good to have goals, but it's also, and when I used to read, and I still do read now, I would go to so many different psychics and they'd tell me where I was going to go. They'd not tell me how the hell I was going to get there or what steps to take. So that's why I go to coaches now that are readers.
mm,
And that's why I say to you, got do this, do that, do this, do that. These are options. This is one timeline. We all have more than one timeline.
mm.
So when you ask me that big universal earth question, like that's a huge one.
What, the one I asked you before we hit record?
Yeah. No, just before. That one.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about my personal stuff that I asked you before. That's all right. Yes, yeah, yeah. We'll go with that.
And I like, and I also want to say, like, when you go down, and a lot of there's so many people that have had like PTSD, depression, and from trauma. So trauma circumstances. It's your be aware that it's okay to fall down.
Yep.
Remember how quick it came. You got up. Because
Yeah.
the first time you're down, you could be down, and this to do with shadow work as well, I suppose. So, because you're in that yucky feeling of just shit, really. And you're like, there's so much goo in here. There's so much stuff going on. There's so many programming. There's what actually happened. And you're sitting in all of this, and I think it's amazing. And
So
then
do I.
this happens. Something just pops here, pops there, pops there, and you just get it. And you're
Yep.
like, and then you shift. And I say it like that, like it's not like it's easy. I've done a lot of years of professional development is what I used to call it.
What do you call it now?
And
I'd love to
personal
know.
development.
Yeah.
It's inner child work.
It's all of it, isn't it? And
It's
when
just,
people start doing it, how beautiful is it though?
oh, it's amazing. So I
And what I'm
usually I
doing
say that.
is what I say to people is that people can sell their comeback story
Yeah. Sometimes so I
through writing, through a video, through something. Like when they're down in the dumps and they're on their way back up through seeing people like you, seeing people like me, heaps of other different people, they can sell their comeback story because everyone loves a good comeback story.
Yeah, they could. Everyone has a book in them, whether they want that book to be a comeback story or just how those feelings and emotion went, whether they want it to be a kid's book to help children evolve and
Yep.
understand, whether they want it to be a fiction, non-fiction,
Yep.
a self-help. Like,
I'm currently doing that. Just, it's awesome.
yeah, everybody has a book in them because everyone has a story. I actually believe everyone has an encyclopedia of it, really.
I agree.
I go into the Akashic records for the mere purpose of cleaning the manipulation that's happened for entities and witchcraft and all sorts of amazing stuff like that. And then I go into the dimensions and the dimensions sit with to do with your ascension, your power, your compassion, your wisdom, and your harmony. And then I go into your parallel universes and all that type of stuff too. And then if you've had a traumatic experience now, there's a huge chance it's been mirrored or triggered. It's triggered from a past in the past life.
I agree.
And if people don't believe in past lives, and then in your past, we'll say that. So it's just about moving that, like your fascia, your universe, or your different sacred geometry that's around as well.
I love that. That's so powerful for people to hear that. Yeah. It's awesome.
But if you're here right now and you're listening to it, you're meant to be here.
I agree. You're here for a reason.
You go find it.
Yeah.
But have fun doing it.
And that's the thing I was just going to touch on, Gina, is that when you help me realize why I'm here, once people realize why they're here, as you said, that Pandora box, you ain't closing that box.
Well, no.
And I ain't stepping off this path.
I tried. You can't
yeah, I ain't stepping off this path. It's remembering who you are. It's all of that stuff that we talk about. It's awesome.
I want to clarify though. Once you unpack and heal and
yeah, all that. Yeah. We gotta get through the dark stuff first. Yeah.
The Pandora's box is not there anymore. So they're like different chambers of your brain. Like our brains, we only use a very small percentage of our brain. Like,
yes, we are.
Yeah. So, and people that take drugs and go to those ecstasy places, we can actually access that without
taking the drugs. Correct.
Yeah, without taking it, because
it's called through shamanic breathing and meditation and all those things.
Or just believing.
Depends
on who you are and what, if you just sit and witness the earth and the beautiful nature around you and the animals, and you just realize and go into those utopia type of circumstances where you're in your place, I suppose, like I said before, a little slice of heaven. Like
it's interesting.
You can see things.
A lot of people can't sit with themselves though, Gina.
Well, you're not really sitting with yourself, are you?
You're not sitting with yourself.
You're sitting with the platypus.
But a lot of people don't have. Well, a lot of people don't have the patience or the mental. Not mental. They don't really have the patience, or they're too scattered, or they're too whatever, and they can't actually sit still and do that. Because I couldn't.
Me because I
was a person that couldn't do that either.
Yeah.
And I can help people remove that as well through self-sabotage coaching.
You do. So it's like the soul's entities. Self-sabotage is also like a frequency. Like someone's done something. You're making these choices that are not healthy for yourself, and you know it, but you just keep doing it.
But what I do is, Gina, I help people get to the root cause of why. And then I change I help them change from their negative belief systems into their positive ones.
That's cool.
And it's very, very cool to watch people shift that stuff during my ceremonies, in my sessions.
I'll have to watch one.
Well, you might have to do it with me then.
How interesting.
Very.
I wonder what would come up.
I don't know. But I could find out.
Yeah, so I didn't actually finish how I got to kinesiology.
No, we went off on a long, long tangent, which was fantastic. I hope a lot of viewers it resonates with them. So, but yeah, we'll circle back to that if you like.
Well, I wanted to once I unpacked that Pandora's box.
Yeah, which we just unpacked.
Yeah, just took me a bit. I really wanted. I love the human body, and I love how the human body works. I love how we have so many programs just to move my arm and all those type of amazing things. And I like to powerlift and do all sorts of different amazing things. And so I was looking at physiotherapy, like going to study. And then I was like, oh, wonder what you would do if you were going to master physiotherapy in Queensland, in Australia. The kinesiology, applied kinesiology, like they have it in the States. And so I was like, oh, what's that? Well, that sounds much better than the physiotherapy stuff. Yeah. Can I do that first? And then, well, I was divinely guided to the place I went and to go on that path. And each time I wanted to leave, I'd have deja vu, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I've got to stay. So yeah. I just met some amazing people, and if it was not like, I have some lifelong friends that came to my party on the weekend, but also that I overseas that I met through those courses. So we only learnt the basics really, and then you just keep evolving.
Do you feel like this is your soul mission, your soul purpose?
I have many.
No, but is this one of them? We all have many, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I have many, but yeah. So it pretty much took me back to what I do. So I can do some of the stuff just by talking. So just by healing and allowing you to be your authentic self, but because I can see. So I can see the stabbing you got when you were in your past life. I can see.
Yeah, you saw some stuff from me, didn't you, Gina?
Yeah, I can see those type of things, and I'm not scared. And I was scared for a little bit when I was younger, because like that, no one tells. It's not many people will talk about that stuff because, oh my God, they'll lock you up.
Yes, correct.
But it
be deemed as crazy.
Yeah, but like it'd be crazy not to think that stuff happened, because I can do that when I do a reading as well. Well, you kind of got a double, triple whammy when you saw me.
But yeah, I did.
Yeah. So when I do a reading, I look at your past to and see what comes up, what your guides show me. And then I look at merely for the purpose to get you where you want to go. So whenever you go see a reader, you want to know what's going to happen in your future, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes to get to your future, you need to unpack and resolve your past and be okay with it and accept it.
That's well said,
Work
Gina.
on your presence.
Yep,
yeah, work on your presence right now. So your family comes up and everything like that. And then you talk about your future. But I'll always tell you there's more than one path.
Correct. And that's interesting you say that, because my brother and I did an episode last week that you can all watch. And we spoke about the same thing. It's like, yeah, that's all well and good. You can go and see these people, but there's actually steps that are your traumas or your roadblocks or whatever it is. There's always steps you need to take to get there. People aren't willing to take those steps, so they remain stuck, and they go, oh, that sidekick said I had all these awesome things coming and nothing happened. It's like, you got to do the work.
Yeah, well, that's with life though. So that when I go to them, it's usually confirmation. I don't think I ever got anything that wasn't a confirmation that I was already working on.
I message you all the time with all of my confirmations, and you love that.
So, and some can happen. Most of them they say that can happen within 6 months. I do get a timeline, but
yes,
I can also see when people pass away and stuff like that. Like I helped, we helped. It's never I. We've got a team. They're
Yes.
amazing.
Yep.
They're absolutely amazing. So I want them, I work with the Galactic Federation, the Celestial Circuit. I work with the Spirit Realms and all of those as well. And they're awesome. But obviously to work with them, you have to work on yourself and work with them as a team.
I agree.
So, because they protect us so much so.
They do, yes.
Yeah.
That's so powerful too.
Yeah, and remember your guides or your entourage. I call them your entourage because if you think you've only got 4, you're sadly mistaken. Your team, like you got to say thank you to them. So, and all my teams work with me, and we cleanse your guides as well if there's any stuff going on.
And you've probably done that for me over the last hour.
Yeah. So by talking, I seem to have the gift of the gab.
Yeah. Yes.
And stuff moves.
It's awesome that, just as an example of how powerful you are, Gina, you could just simply ask how someone is going, and you'll know straight away that they're not okay, or
I already know.
You already know. And you asked me before we came on air how I was going, and I said good, and you said no, you're not. You think you thought I had a headache or something, didn't you?
Oh, I said, are you dizzy?
That's it. You said I was dizzy, and it's like, yeah, I was a little bit flustered before I come on, but you knew that.
Oh,
that's pretty powerful.
Well, there's a connection. This is why I saged before.
True. Yeah.
And we go back to the medical thing. So when we will talk about your business as well, which is unblocking stuff. So it's getting better now, but when I went down the path of not understanding what was going on with me, I reached out to my doctor. And she did want to give me medication. For 4 years, she tried to give me medication. I did eventually go on medication. I understand that sometimes there is a spot where you need it, but you don't need it so that you'll live. You do need it to survive a tiny bit, but you do need to go and work on yourself. You need to work out why you're feeling like that. You need to work out what the blocks are. You need to be able to. The only purpose for it is for that purpose.
I agree, 100%.
When a doctor tells you have to be on medication for the rest of your life, particularly if it's like depression or anxiety, that's not okay, because that then backs up other organs and other areas.
But you're also suppressing the problem you're suppressing your pain. And
well, you literally, even when you work on it, so when you work on that, just from experience, when you work on that and you're on medication, it only gets you so far. So those emotions only release so far,
and that's what causes cancer.
Medications are there to block parts and neurons. So some people's brains are so amazing. Well, a lot of people's are actually, and they'll go around the block, which is really cool. But when you come off that medication, if it's a high dose, it's quite challenging, and all those emotions rush at the same time because they want to get through. So, and that's where it's really good to have a holistic person helping you, or someone like yourself, a counselor. But everyone needs to have more than one tool in their belt.
I agree.
So if I was going to go to a reader, I'll go to someone that is a healer.
I agree.
Some sort of healer.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go to a psychologist, I never go to a psychologist or anyone unless I get tools. When you come see me, you get evolvement work. Something to help you evolve so that, and your subconscious actually tells me what it needs. So I like to use flower essences, and for the purpose of helping that person while they're shifting and integrating. So our work is not instant always.
No.
It has, there's a lot of blocks, and there's sometimes it'd be different if it was a child only been around for a few years, or a teenager, but like an adult that my age, that hasn't looked at themselves, that hasn't realized that, even though they're saying that they've got a toxic family circumstance, well, so instead of actually working on those emotions that may help them feel like that and unpacking them, they suppress them, and emotions, they never die.
No.
So they block themselves off from those circumstances in that family, and they just go, oh, they're there. So, but their emotions still stay in their large intestines where, toxicity is in, and the liver still, reaches up, because someone else in their life is going to go to teach them the lesson. So someone else is going to do it to them. They're going to say that it's them. But we always have to go within and go, all right, what's my bit in this? What's my bit in this? What journey is this that I need to resolve and release? Or just acknowledge, really. Because the toxic traits in our family are here to show us some stuff. But when it comes down to it, human love sometimes is grey. It is not black and white. Human love is, you're not wearing that, are you? You're going to put Australian human love. Anyway, you're not going to wear that. You're not doing that. Well, actually, I am. Or you can't come near me. But in actual fact, it's the opposite. They want you to go and give them a hug. They need that. Their soul needs that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fractions of their body that have been toxic shamed or something like that is stopping them. It's a block. So it's all good and it's great to remove people from your life. And I'm not condoning that. Don't just do it like that and not work on why you're doing it. And forgiveness is never about the other person. It's always about ourselves.
Correct. You've always said it. You said it in my
I
first
always
session.
say
You say it now. You forgive, and you always forgive yourself as well. So if you want to forgive,
remember, you forgive yourself for allowing yourself for it to happen.
Spot on.
So you forgive yourself for choosing that. You're forgiving yourself for that, and then you've got to give yourself what you need.
Correct.
And it's never like, oh, I need my nails done. It's never that.
No. It's deeper than that.
It's a love. It's kindness. It's acceptance. It's an ear to listen to. It's someone that just has your whole presence.
Spot on.
And that person is you.
Holding space for someone. Holding space for someone. All of that.
Well, holding space for yourself, actually.
Oh, yourself. Yeah.
But there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can probably do it with your self-sabotage stuff.
I do.
And you can do it with kinesiology and with emotions, and there's a whole lot of different type of spiral. What else? There's so many different modalities that do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes if someone's doing something to our body, we might also need the acknowledgement, the speaking, so we're aware of it. Sometimes we don't like to hear that, but we do need the acknowledgement so that we can acknowledge what it is, and everything, like parts of your brain and your body kind of click into place, and you have those little shiver moments.
I've had a lot of those. Goosebumps and all that sort of stuff.
Owning and being happy in who you are.
I trust Goosebumps now.
So, well, that was my kinesiology journey, but my journey now is like all different stuff now. It's not really that.
Well, what is it now then? For those out there,
it's really kind of like energy. It's energy work, I suppose, energy therapy. But it's just about helping people's bodies go into balance, and I don't necessarily need to use it the same way I used to. Everyone's evolving, so coaching seems to be the way that's going for me. But about acceptance, really.
It is, yeah, and that's a beautiful way to finish. So, Gina, if there's one last thing you'd like to say to people that are watching this that want to reach out, that are in that they're feeling a pull to reach out to one of us or reach out to you, what's your message for those people that are like, I should do this, and then they're thinking of ways they shouldn't? Those people that are, what's your message for those people, or for people in general?
I was going to do like a card thing, pick a card.
You could do that.
I won't do that. Well, no, I won't do that. I'll just say I'm about bringing harmony into your heart. So is my team. So there are some weird and wonderful things out there. I don't have to speak it for you, but I can shift it for you, and so can Nathan. So it's about, if you want to bring clarity into your brain, love into your heart, and harmony into your whole body and your everything. If you want to be connected to your celestial team, upgrade your ancestral lines and bring the power through, I can do that. Well, we can do it.
And you did it for me.
Yeah,
it was unreal.
I just really want to help people, and so do you. But I want to help people so they can hear and feel and be their actual selves and not have everyone's voices in their heads. So it's about bringing harmony into your heart and talking and listening from your heart center. And there's so many different ways to do that. But a
lot of people are stuck between their heart and their head. It's like, follow your heart.
Well, it's about being balanced, isn't it, really?
Yep.
Being balanced in sovereignty. If you feel you've got some interesting things that have come up, I am happy to talk about the most interesting things, but I can also be extremely still interesting, but I can do it.
It's interesting. I was going to ask you why you were called Harmony and Heart, and that's the most beautiful thing I just ever heard just then.
I called it a studio because I want to evolve.
And you will.
And I've got sprays and everything. Can I call them, Gina in a bottle.
Mm.
And oils and bar salts and all that type of stuff. And so I that's what I plan to bring to the world. And I know I've already done it.
Yeah, you have.
And it's beautiful, but like, yeah. So it's just one person on the step to your self-discovery.
Correct. Yeah.
That's what it is, really.
Yeah.
And it is important to put yourself first and understand that you can't pour from an empty cup. So what happens normally is people see me when they're in a little bit of chaos.
I was in some chaos.
Yeah, I do work very well in chaos, but
I was probably like example hugely in chaos when I come and saw you first time.
you really weren't. You felt like you were, but you really weren't.
Oh, thank you, Gina.
You might have felt like you were.
Oh, I felt like I was.
Well, that's the thing. People in the last like 2-3 years, like how I've evolved has been years and years and years. The people that are, because of the COVID circumstances and everything like that, people have gone within and they've ascended quicker than most.
Oh,
like
my ascension was very quick. Yeah.
So that's why there's some turmoil. So that's why the brain is not, balanced and there's not clarity in there. So it's also, I do work on autoimmune diseases and stuff like that as well. So and there's a couple of doctors I follow on Instagram. If you were not born with it, you can heal it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a belief system and program. So that's how come strange things will occur when you unblock the sabotage and the programs and the circumstances and the trauma.
Oh, yes.
And then you acknowledge your journey. And yeah, I do make it sound easy though when I hear myself out loud.
Well, because you don't have a mum or a dad joke for us, I'll share one for the people out there because I love my jokes.
Oh my God!
Absolutely, I'm going to share
one.
Do
like something. We're going to do something instead of a joke.
Actually, we were too. No, let's do the affirmation thing. I like.
Hey, do you want me to pick a card?
Absolutely, let's do an affirmation for those that are watching and listening
around
the world. Let's do it.
We'll do mind, body, and soul. My mind, body, and soul.
Yep.
Are aligned, in harmony, and relishing in our lives. Do you like that one?
I do like that one. I just got goosebumps. I was just taking a little moment to process it. No, that is awesome.
And what I always say to people is removing stagnant energy that no serves you, not part of your blueprint, not part of your highest potential, not part of your soul ascension, and not part of your journey. And return to right alignment, healing with love.
Yes, you've always said that, and you say it so fast. When I was laying on the table months ago, you were saying some interesting stuff. I'm like, what are you even saying?
So I sometimes don't say it out loud because I'm still doing it in my head and in my body and my field. So I just said it then just in case I activated some people.
So Gina, where can people find you? I'll put all your stuff down the bottom, like your email address, website, Facebook page.
I'm Harmony Heart Studio. Gina, I do distance balances as well.
Yeah, so make sure we mention that. Yep.
I'm in Queensland, in between the Sunshine Coast and Brisbane North.
Yep.
And yeah, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, but mainly in person, or just message me on 0408 993 556.
Oh, she's chucked the number in there. Righto.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is, Gina, I'll put all your stuff in the bottom, your email address, Facebook page, Instagram, all of that, and you'll probably get some followers today from this. So I hope you're ready.
Well, I'll share it. Are we still recording?
Yeah, we are still recording. I'm just saying, I was just going to put all your stuff in the bottom for people that they can reach out to you, because if people are watching this, come to have a session with me, in the final summation package that I send out you a lot of stuff, but I also send out Gina's stuff as well, because you helped me so much on my journey. And
well, I'm excited for when the book gets published.
Yeah, well, that's going to be awesome, isn't it? Breaking Free. Yep. Teenagers and Young Adults Guide. And the next one, yeah. I have spoken about the kids' books that I am writing, so I look forward to that too. So thanks for jumping on, Gina. We'll end the recording now, and hope a lot of people got a lot from this. And I'm definitely going to get Gina back on. We can talk some more stuff. some more healing, some more energy work, and all of that. So I thank you, Gina, for coming on today, for giving your time to this, and I'm forever in debt to you. You're a true friend of mine, and I can't wait to see what you have in store next. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, my love.